Hey guys, Jen and Samson in the background, enjoying his peanut butter so Mama can have a few minutes to make this video. So this is going to be kind of a mixed bag. It's stuff that has been talked about briefly in live streams, but people might not have heard them because they don't always stick around for the whole thing. I'm going to make this as quick as possible, but it's also semi-updates. These are things that will be brought up soon in a live stream format where we kind of look into this deeper together. So the first thing I wanted to address was the eye thing. We've gone over mouth and teeth a bit. Again, things begin in the spirit and kind of manifest in the physical. We don't judge people by the physical, but by the fruits of their spirit, how they walk this out. And even then, you know, that's really not our lane, but we judge. It's kind of what we do. So if we're going to do it, let's at least do it righteously. So I wanted to address the topic. Everybody's always talking about like reptilians and be afraid of the reptilians and the reptilians run things. And honestly, as much as that is pushed, as big as David Icke has gotten, I'm pretty sure that if the crown wanted him gone, he could be gone unless he is protected by the creator of this place, of us all, which is a possibility. But I want to bring up something else that I think is a little more intriguing, and I will have to pause the video, so if there are funny moments, bear with me, because I am trying to get better at least streamlining things for you and taking out the middle part, you know, where we look things up and whatnot. So I wanted to address the reptilian thing also because a lot of reptiles are vegetarians. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that cats share similar retinas, eyes, with crocodiles and snakes. And I believe those are amphibians and reptiles. A snake is a reptile. A crocodile, I think, is amphibian. Now, their eyes are like this because they're nighttime hunters, nighttime predators, and this allows them to control how much light is let in to the eye at any given moment. Notice that. It controls how much light is allowed in to reflect. Okay? Now, it's built into animals as a protective measure, but again, we don't hear much about cats in the Bible, and I want to address that as well. So is it possible, maybe when people say they see these eyes and they see people have these eyes, and we know that we have heard before in the spiritual community that people who are quote-unquote possessed will often have different eyes. I myself have seen the black eye phenomenon more than once, more than one individual at a time. We also know that there are contact lenses out there like that. I've done videos about all these things. So we try to be balanced about it. So I want to, in an effort to be fair and balanced again, let's look at cats. What if people aren't seeing snake eyes or reptilian eyes, which is a possibility because of the serpent in the garden, right? But cats are also very prevalent. And goat's eyes are in here as well, and I think that's interesting because they have what looks like, or what is known as a specific genetic disorder in humans, but they have almost what looks like two pupils. And again, that's in a lot of movies recently. I've addressed that briefly. It's in a lot of movies about possession. You can find them for free on Tubi, even in a couple of the more popular ones that are newer on YouTube. Okay? And I wanted to show you here, these are just a list of some of reptiles that are vegetarians. Just some of them. And some of them are the scary ones, the spiny-tailed lizards, the iguanas. Now, I've had lizards, so I know that they're reptilians, and so that some of them are vegetarian, excuse me. So I wanted to address this possibility. Is it possible that maybe what people are seeing are cat eyes, especially if the fallen have tinkered with genetics? Now, hold please, I want to bring something up for you real quick. What you're seeing now is known to be a parasite that is in cats. It also travels to humans, and it has a specific names. Now, again, I've told you in the Essaying Book of Peace, we've read some of that on the channels, it goes into and calls Satan death, and it calls Satan a parasite that has to be flushed out of the system, and this can only happen through fasting. My disclaimers are in the description box. So cats have a parasite that can be passed on to humans. There's a joke about it in cartoons, I guess. I don't have cable, but I guess Family Guy had a episode about this. Now, it's called the Toxoplasma gondii is manipulating people's brains into making them less afraid of quitting their jobs. Now, they get into a little joke there, but let's continue. National Geographic, Toxoplasma gondii infects up to a third of the world's human population at any given time. A third. Now, think of that also when you think of the numbers that are mentioned in the book of Revelation in regards to humanity and how many will be removed from the face of the earth. And again, you have people on YouTube saying that they're Christian, but they're saying that it's the elites who want to do this population control. If and or when it happens, it will be an act that only the creator of this realm can pull off or approve of, so to speak. Now, can these parasites control humans? Toxoplasma gondii tops the list as the most famous and most controversial neurological, which means in your brain, parasite. This tiny protozoan doesn't look like much more than a blob, but once it makes its way to the brain, it can radically alter the behavior of hosts like rats, cats, and yes, even humans. Hold, please. Sorry for the weird interruption there, guys. I had to grab a couple pictures real quick for you. So back to cats. Now, if we consider that this is possible, well, National Geographic reports that it is true that this parasite travels from cats to humans. Now we know that Gilgamesh, this is Gilgamesh, loved cats, but to him, this was a tiger. He was a large individual. And he was an Egyptian, a Babylonian, or, wait, hold up. He might have been Sumerian, now that I think of it, but it doesn't matter. He was incarnated in every little God system on the earth. So, you'll see him again and again and time and again. Now, that's supposed to be, I think, a whip in his hand, but to me, it almost looks like a wind-up thing on a jack-in-the-box. Like, whatever he's standing next to, like it's a, some kind of dial or something to turn things. I'm not sure. But in regards to the cat, we know that they are big in Babylon and Egyptian, the faith system that they have there, their religion, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. I've also told you about, and I looked for the pictures, I can't find them right now, but they are in another video that I may or may not upload. I'm not sure yet because there's a lot of personal stuff that I talk about in that video, so it's kind of a hard one for me. I had it up and then I pulled it down because nobody watched it in like the first hour, so I kind of got nervous and pulled it down. But anyways, is it possible that these eyes that people are seeing are some type of cat spirit? We know that ancestor worship is big now as well, but is this a possibility? What do you guys think? Could people be wrong? Could there be more than one type of spiritual animal or familiar here walking among us? What is your opinion on this? I figured I'd throw it out there. But we know that they look almost, they almost worship cats, okay? Now, I also told you in previous videos about them using their social media accounts to signal each other, and one of their signals is either having their profile picture sideways or upside down. Now, and it's a joke now for anyone who says, well, I didn't know how to upload that picture. You know, it's their second Facebook account. You don't know why they have it. Or they're not showing their face, or they are showing their face, but just one eye. These are all things to look for. Now, in another video that I may or may not upload, on a pet site, all of the cats that were listed for sale were pictured upside down. So hold for another moment, and I want to get into another topic just briefly that we've talked about, but we haven't went into in depth, but I think it's worth mentioning as well. Now, you're probably wondering why Bobblehead is in the title. When I talk about my dreams or what I have come to know to be experiences at this point, and I've gone scientifically through this with you guys and talked about the possibility of this being done by man and the possibility of anesthesia being used and people sneaking into the medical industry to be nefarious and take out nefarious deeds. I was interrupted again. I apologize, but we were changing subjects, so it should be okay. I've had a lot of trouble in this last 10 minutes, looking to be like 10 minutes, trying to get this made, and that rarely happens, but I'm going to plow ahead and post it as it is then, because obviously there's something that's going to be said that maybe is a trigger. So we're going to go ahead and expose whatever it is. So, Bobbleheads, I've talked about how my dreams and or encounters with these beings and or with nefarious men and women who have experience in law enforcement, psychology, psychiatry, and the medical industry altogether. So I've talked about these beings looking like they're bobbleheads in the quote-unquote dream aspect. They will either come to you looking like your family and friends in the dream with these bobblehead-like masks, and if you're actually dreaming, they will come to you as like a disguised person in your dream. Oftentimes to get information from you, like what you're afraid of, little things like that they can use to kind of torment you, basically. This is why prayer is so very important, especially before you go to bed at night. At least declare your non-consents aloud so that you have peaceful rest. But when it's the actual encounter, now your family and friends, is it them actually doing it? Well, it can be, or they can be disguised. It depends on how conscious you are. But I know that it was actually my family in more than one of these instances. And they don't look like themselves. They almost look like a caricature of themselves. Their face, they have this duper's delight, this very weird grin, almost like the Joker. It's creepy. And like I said, the behavior is weird. They peek around doors. They are very invasive of your privacy. They don't want you having any privacy. I understand that to a point. Like I said, I'm sure God monitors us and sees everything and intervenes when is needed, but here like that, with the way it's happening, is nefarious. So I've talked about them being bobbleheads. Now this is an actual book. We read part of it, and oddly enough, some of these men even look like this. This is an exaggeration, but all of the ones around here that give me a hard time, the dog walking guy, they all look like this, except they wear those very, very dark shades, like they have vision problems. Their eyes always look sleepy and tired like that. And they're almost always bald and have teeth issues. It is said that the angels are attracted to the female hair, so I find that interesting that these individuals are also bald, and they have a lot in common with a very popular YouTube priest, which is why I don't push his book of prayers wholeheartedly, because I have questions about that individual as a whole. And we also did a sort of deep dive into the person who wrote this book, who is also a psychiatrist and is also a professor or an MD in genetics. So it's very odd how we have all these same people are interested in the same things, and obviously there's some type of genetic marker in people that is indicative of these traits or something that they're looking for. And I got into the CV tests and how they resembled what we were told was DNA tests on Maury Povich. Okay, so honestly, and again, they want you to believe DNA. Science never lies, they tell you. But the people who deliver the science are men, and they do lie. Next, I told you that one of my encounters, the first individual, when I was allegedly asleep, but I woke up with like marks on me, and it was in my own living room, and all this stuff. The one who handled me and injected me and actually said, he was of the fallen, because I said, "Oh, you're cold," and I tried to pull my hand away. This is what he looked like. Very grayish, bluish skin, stringy hair. I always try to relate people to characters in my mind when telling a story, so we can have that common ground. this is almost exactly what he looked like, except he had regular hands. He had stringy hair, almost like yarn, kind of like dreads, but almost looked like icicles, like almost how you'd picture Jack Frost. And again, you have the very enlarged black eyes. This is a character from a movie called Puppet Master, which again is indicative of mind control type of behaviors. And you also have the bald-headed, pin-headed individuals, and that one there is actually called Pinhead. So that's another rabbit hole that you could dive into just from these starting points. So I want to hear what you guys think, what you want to talk about more. And I'm also going to work on something right now about, I'm wondering if Sophia's physical manifestation on Earth, if Sophia is a real goddess or whatever we would call her, she's a Gnostic theory or what have you, theology, was Sophia Mary Magdalene on Earth? Because what is said in the Pistis Sophia sounds like Jesus when he saves Mary Magdalene from the Pharisees. So I want to read a part of the Pistis of Sophia to you guys again. That might be very soon. I might upload that like tonight. I don't know. But when I get a thing, I try to just go with it, because time is just unpredictable these days. I want to hear what you guys think. What are your thoughts? And again, some of this stuff I tell to air it out, expose it, and take the power away from it. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.